Hey guys, so I wanted to come back and kind of do part two, I guess, of the keg fermentation. Today is going to be our transfer. So again, I'm doing a hazy. We talked about this last time in the video. It's a NEPA. Very particular about getting oxygen in it, and really all styles are. But so much with the hazies, it really does change. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had it change colors. I've had it go like a grayish purple on me before I really learned about this and got into fermenting in kegs and keeping oxygen as low as possible. So kind of take you through our process. Some of the things that I've changed since the last time I did this video. Purging lines, that's something I had not been doing because there is oxygen in the lines. Those types of things I'm going to take you through. Had some people talk about having issues with floating dip tubes and them getting air in them and not having correct pickup. So I'll show you what I do to kind of correct that and make sure it's all set before you get into the transfer process. And just kind of take you through how I do it. Again, you know, my process isn't perfect or the best. It just happens to be what I do, and I found that works for me. I did want to throw it out there real quick as a quick thank you to our newest sponsor, Yakima Valley Hops. I've got stickers here on the fermentation chamber. If you've never used them, great company to work with. You really feel like you're working with a small company. One of the best things I really like about it, other than the product being awesome, is when you do get your invoice back and the package comes back, always stickers. So I've got stickers all over this with Yakima Valley Hops. But there's also a little thank you handwritten note on the invoice. So you know exactly who did the packing for you. If there's an issue, you can track right back to that person and you can pick up the phone and actually talk to the person there doing the packaging. So great company to work with. Really looking forward to our partnership here coming forward. They just came on board September 1 with Brewtubers. So if you've never checked out Yakima Valley Hops for your hops or any other needs that you have around brewing, check them out. Great company to work with. Great customer service. And like I said, you really do feel like you're working with a small hometown company. Keeping money here in the United States is always a big thing. So thanks to Yakima Valley Hops. But what we'll do right now is we'll get into the process that I use for taking a sample here at the very end. So after cold crash and making sure that everything's all set and the flow is working with the dip tubes, and then get you through that portion after it. All right, we will catch you in a minute as I kind of take you through the process. All right, so again, we are going to get a sample here. And I've got just a simple pigtail here to the picnic tap. Used the CO2, just put a couple of pounds on this. I don't want a ton on it, just a couple of pounds just to make sure I can push. And then this is my double check to make sure that we don't have an issue with the pickup. Again, some people have said they had issues with these, so we'll see if we've got something here. Oh, yes, we've got that. So typically, you know, you're going to get some hop sludge out of that. Get rid of that. Nice to be able to work outside this time of year. All right. So right now it's looking like a good beer, pretty solid there. So let's flip over and make sure we're doing the same thing on the other one. Make sure we're getting the same thing. So we've got flow on both of them. So I'll take that. We'll let that bring up the air sample or air temperature, excuse me, so I can take a sample and not have to worry about temperature correct. But now, if you do this ahead of time, now you know that those two floating dip tubes have fluid in them. You got a sample, you can double check your numbers, make sure it hasn't moved during cold crash or anything else. And then I know I'm good to go from that point moving forward. So I'll show you what I do with my tubing, make sure that I'm purged of airs and those types of things, and then we'll get this transferred over. I'll show you how that goes. All right, so from last video, you guys saw me moving the star sand into this bucket. So again, I keep this around for that. So I'm going to take both of these and get them into star sand. I guess you could probably just keep one out and deal with just one of them just being oxygen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ball lock on one of them. So that's up in there as well. And then that should keep it airtight as you're coming through. So that is full of star sand now. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to click onto my oxygen side, my CO2. Not just finger tight basically, over the top of this. And I've just got it, you know, a couple of pounds, not very much at all. I'm going to push the top that pushes it out. Now close the poppet. Now you can't be perfect, but as close as you can get. This guy is in there. We'll start seeing him. Make sure we're good. As quick as you can, obviously. Put it back on. Got my pliers. Crank both of them down. And then if you wanted to let it sit, with the ball lock and the pin lock into the fluid, you do the same thing. So that way you have a completely purged line. If you're concerned about oxygen egress, again, then being a hazy, I want to make sure I can do as much as I can to make sure that I don't have any problems with that. So I'm going to do the same thing with the gas line, get them both purged and ready to go, and then I'll take you to the next piece. All right, so I know with the light behind it, it may not be easy to see those gauges, but I've got it set at 10 pounds. And I don't know that there's a right or wrong way with the 10 pounds. I just figured that's what my serving pressure is most of the time. So I set it at 10 pounds. I think you could probably do this at 5 pounds if you wanted to. You probably do more than 10 pounds. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it going either way, but again, if anybody has comments on that, let me know. But I've typically set this at 10 pounds. And what I'm going to do is take all 3 of these kegs and put them at 10 pounds so that they will all be balanced. And then I'll show you what's going on from there. So let's get this set and see if I can do this without causing a bunch of camera issues. So sorry if I am. Apologies for that. So I keep, nice having the T basically, or the Y here. One I keep with a pin lock on, and one I keep a ball lock on, so it just makes it easier. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up to 10. I don't know what the pressure obviously was when I purged it, but we'll get that set and open that up. So that's got pressure flowing to it. We'll do the same. We'll just let that come up to pressure so you can kind of hear it coming through. Watch the gauge come back up to 10. Again, I don't know if you can see that in there or not. It's kind of a little bit dark, so basically you can kind of go on hearing, and once the gauge is settled back out, you're good. So now I've got 10 pounds in there. Get my gas on this side. Again, open this up. I'll close that one back off since we're not using the ball lock side. This is going to have a little bit more pressure to it because we put a couple of pounds on it already anyways. That's up. And then the same thing with this guy. And you'll see it drop down. You can hear it obviously. Once it comes up to 10 pounds, now we're good. All right, so now all 3 of these kegs have 10 pounds of pressure in them. So let me get this set up. I got to move a couple of things around just to make it easier for you guys to see, and then I'll take you through that process. But again, all of my tubing that I'm going to be using is purged. So got my 2 kegs with the beer finished, serving keg. I got my 2 purge lines. So you guys saw that. So I got my liquid side and my gas side. So what I typically like to do is I like to hook up to the serving side first. So I'll get my liquid side on there. Doesn't make any difference obviously up here which one you're going to go to. But I typically like to do this, and what we're basically going to do is just create a completely closed transfer as it goes through this. You're kind of balancing the system out. I don't know that there's really a right way or a wrong way because it's completely balanced. I typically go with the liquid side first and get that hooked up, get that started, and then go with the gas next. And then typically what I'll do is, you can see it starting to come there, is just pull this. And then once it gets started, it basically just starts to flow. So as this is a little bit less than this, the pressure is going to push that out. As the CO2, as the liquid fills this, it pushes CO2 back into this right on top, and it just continues to go back through. Now the biggest thing with this is it does take some time. It's not something that's super fast. I've had them take 5-10 minutes to do one full. So obviously if you're siphoning from a container down, it's much quicker than that. This does take a little bit of time. So typically this is set at 10 pounds. This is with you pulling it off, you're probably down to 7 or 8 pounds. But that just kind of creates, not a siphon really, but it creates that siphon of gas pushing. So as this goes through and fills, the nice thing about it today is I can see right here at the bottom because the humidity where it's at, have an idea as I'm moving my way up. But obviously that's not the case all the time. So having a scale For my kegs, what I found is this full of star sand, I measured it, was 52 pounds. So you can put a scale underneath it, kind of check it every so often as it's going along, and you're just kind of seeing as things happen with it. So once in a while you may need to hit this with some CO2 and just make sure that that's staying up at the pressure as it's moving along. Just trying to keep them balanced as you go through with that. So other than that, that's basically how I go through. Once this is full and it's set to go, you're ready to go and as you're going through with that. So just kind of hang out and wait for it to finish up at this point. So get it in, put it on serving pressure and let it go. Because it was pressure fermented, there will be some PSI or some carbonation in that beer as it's going in. So typically I'll just do a set it and forget it for the better part of a week or so, and then she should be ready to go. All right, well, I think that's pretty much it in terms of my process going through. I think the next one will be kind of cleaning kegs, that type of stuff. I've got a DIY keg cleaner. I've had some people ask, how much of a pain in the butt is it to clean these after fermenting in them and those types of things. So thought I'd go through that and kind of show you that. So trying to keep these down to 10 minutes or less or so and kind of show you how things go. So, all right, guys, hope everybody has a great day. Sláinte.